Hey, good morning. Welcome back to Hobby Evolution. Here we are, episode 1530. We are back from the National, not quite refreshed. It's always a long week. I took Sunday off. I took Friday off. First time. I've been going to the National since 2019 in Chicago. So that's what 2019, 21, 23, 20. So four Nationals. This was my fourth. I think all but one. So, well, the two in the middle, 21 and 23, I went every single day. 2019, I think I went Thursday night. I didn't get there till Thursday night. And then I didn't go on Sunday. First time I haven't attended a Sunday at the National. But I basically got everything I needed Wednesday and Thursday. It was a completely different, for me, it was a completely different trip to the National because of my eBay live selling. So I was not really looking to get the inventory I would have looked to get 6 to 8 months ago. I wasn't going back Sunday to get bulk deals. I don't want bulk. I'm trying to get rid of bulk. So it was a much different experience for me and very pleasant. Like I didn't feel rushed, except for Wednesday and to an extent Thursday. But fortunately I was able to get in right away. On Wednesday, I was able to get, a spot right at the front. I was one of the first. I was one of the first at the singles club in the slab boxes, which I was shot. And now I'm like kicking myself. God, I should have bought more. Especially with the night I had on eBay Live last night. It was an awesome National for me. Went to the Cubs game on Friday. Really, really happy I did that. Although in previous years, I don't know if the Cubs in the other years, it's been in 2019, 21, and 23, I don't think the Cubs were at home. I think they did play the White Sox on the south side, one of those, but I don't know if they had any games at Wrigley. It was always a weird schedule for the Cubs around the National. So it worked out perfect. Went down and the Cubs won, so that was good. 1-0 over the Orioles. And then I decided, Saturday was, I went heavy on slabs on Wednesday, Thursday, and then Saturday was kind of, all right, I'm going to dig through dollar boxes because this is where my margins are going to be. And even on Saturday, I found $1. I should have just bought all of him out because there was so much good stuff I could lot up and do really well. But I decided to just buy. I think I bought 200 cards. I could have bought 800. And then there were some other good quarter 50-cent boxes, dollar boxes throughout Saturday as well. So very happy with what I was able to pick up. Very happy with the sales. I've almost made my money back. And it's Monday morning. We went late last night. I was on eBay Live for the latest night ever. It was by far my biggest from a dollar standpoint sales night. Went until almost 12:30 last night. So it was a late night. But it was very worth it, very well worth it. And I'm trying to think of what percentage I am I'm probably at 80 to 85% making my money back on what I spent. I did sell the Mike Trout, so already that puts me in the plus. So I'm already in the green. Unfortunately, my eBay Live on Thursday night didn't go as well as I was planning because of the internet connection. We cut it off early. I only did about 30 auctions on Thursday night because of the poor internet connection, but it made a few $100. So it was not all for naught, I guess. So yeah, it was bigger, and that's not subjective. It was better than ever. That is subjective. I don't know if anybody could say it was worse. It wasn't better than a previous national they've attended. I thought it was super well run. There were a few changes, especially at check-in. But I found it easy to navigate. When I came in, usually you come in, if you're coming in from the parking garage, you come down the escalators down to, the ticket booth, the pass booth. And it says VIP check-in this way. And I'm like, well, that's different. So I followed, and there were plenty of signs. And so I just followed the signs, and upstairs, and you had to walk all over the place. It was a little like off the beaten path, but I was able to make my way and find myself to check in. Check-in process was a breeze, fortunately, because I got there early. And I didn't get there as early as I did the last couple of years, but I was there by 12:30, maybe noon, sometime in the noon hour. And I waited maybe 15 minutes. So it was pretty smooth. And I ran at D Pyers. I ran into D Pyers and his wife. We were actually in line. I was talking. I didn't know it was his wife. I didn't know it was David. And we're talking, and I'm like, this eBay bag, the VIP swag bag, and I'm like, I don't like this bag. And I'm like, you can have it. And then David turns around and, hey. So then they told us, oh no, you've got to be in this line. And so we moved over and went into the line next to us. And then all of a sudden somebody came in, no, we're opening the doors over here. So then we went, and I was right up front. Also, I was in line with Dez. Dez has the emoji in the corner that has the lady flashing. So we hung out for check-in, and we ran into each other a little bit later as well in the show. So it was a good time. I raced to the singles club. They'd been promoting their slabs, and you know how I've been. I'm not digging through. It used to be quarter boxes and then dollar buy. Now it's slabs, and they had discount slabs, which I'm like, oh my god! I just saw the photos, and they're like 6 for $100, and I'm like, I'm gonna spend all of my money here, which I almost did, and I could have. And I would have been happy. I would have been happy only buying slabs from the singles club and coming home and been like, this was great. So, and I couldn't believe, I think there was one person there before me, and I couldn't believe, and I was just, and I'm like, fill a box, and I'm fill another box. I filled 3 shoe boxes of slabs on Wednesday. And I only went through like half of the inventory they had out that day. And then I went back Thursday morning and bought another shoebox of slabs. And then I went back Saturday, and they were all sold out, which is okay. By that point, they probably were. By the time I got there on Saturday, they would have been really picked over anyway. All right, let's go into the chat, and I think we can talk about some of the comments here. Peter's in the house. Welcome back. Hope you had a great time. It was a blast. The only thing I'm disappointed, I didn't get to meet a lot of people. And it's such a big show, and we're all doing different things. It's hard to like actually meet up. And I unfortunately did not get to meet Orlando. So that's a bummer. There were quite a few people that I was hoping to meet and didn't come across. But for those, I'm glad I did get to meet those that I did and hang out with those that I did see. East Coast Tom says, National was a tremendous experience. Great meeting everyone. Yeah, and we had our Hobby Evolution, our Couch People meetup on Saturday down at Shoeless Joe's. I think we had about 15 people. It was a completely different crowd than last time. I think the only holdovers from 2 years ago was Bronco and David, D. Pyers. I think those were the only. Let me know if I'm forgetting anybody. But got to meet Boston Smoke for the first time. He came out to the meetup. Tiger 727, Greg was there. My buddy Dave came over. Let's see, who else did we? Max and his dad came out. East Coast Tom and Tim were there. So it was a good time at Shoeless Joe's on Saturday. Brandon, what's going on? Good morning. It was an awesome trip. Thank you. Victor, what's going on? Good morning. We had a blast. Kyle's here. What's up? Was next to you first day rating singles club slab boxes. Great stuff, wasn't it? Oh my gosh. There were I pulled 2 Larry Bird rookies. Now, I was a little disappointed. I ran one of them last night, and it sold for like 50. Now, I paid like $13 after the bulk discount, and I thought it would sell for a little bit more. Larry Bird does really well in my eBay lives, so I thought it would go for more. But hey, you can't complain on selling something for 50 that you paid 13 for. The funny thing was we were standing there, and Chris, who owns Singles Club, he's like bringing out more and more slabs, and he like looks at me and he's like, "You do 52 tops?" And I'm like, yeah, why not? There were 452 top slabs. I'm glad I grabbed those because they were selling for 70 to 80 bucks last night on eBay Live. Okay. Some of the Kobe's were selling for really good money. So I've done really well. I've only sold about 200 of the slabs, and I bought probably, let's see, what's the math? I think there were 94 in a shoebox, and I got 4 shoeboxes plus a few extras. 94 times 4. So over 400, about 400 slabs. So I've sold about half of them. That makes, it seems like I've sold less than half though, as I look around and I still have piles in the other room. Tom says, I even had the opportunity to sit at dime boxes when I wasn't finding schedules from 1964. There you go. I thought, and it wasn't as, and here's the reason, and I know this from running the Madison Card Show, obviously on a completely different scale, but it's all scale. And the Madison Card Show, when we opened 3 rooms, there's a lot more room to walk around in each ballroom. When we consolidated all into 2 ballrooms, guess what? It gets pretty packed. So that's just like the National, just on a much, much, much bigger scale. They had extra space. Obviously, not everybody's going to be all confined into this square footage. There's additional square footage. And even though there's more people, it may seem less crowded. Although Thursday was packed. Thursday was packed. The only complaint I had was the upstairs, which if you've been to the Chicago Sports Spectacular, they use the upstairs room. And that was like confined to a very small square footage. I know from running the shows, you're basically paying, the promoters and organizers are paying for square footage. And so it's like, yeah, we'll rent this. They weren't using that space or whatever. Maybe the venue wouldn't allow them more space, more square footage. So, I don't know how those talks, none of us know how those talks, I don't think any of us know how those talks went. But my thought process is either one of 2 things with that upstairs room was either the organizers decided to only spend for X amount of square footage, which makes sense because if you only can get, if you're getting this much money you're paying this much, it's like, well, kind of like the additional room, it may have been a break even, and like we don't want to put this much work in to break even. Kind of like the at the hotel when I ran the Pokemon room, it's like I'm losing money. I was actually not even breaking even. I was losing money on that room. So that could have been one part. Second part, the venue may have said no. This is what you can have. So and we're not privy to those negotiations. So. But that was my only complaint, was it was super tight in those aisles. I only did half of it because you couldn't even fit 3. You could barely fit 3 people. If somebody's standing on this side of the table and then the table's on the other side, you could barely squeeze through. So I just went up and back, and I'm like, I'm not going through the rest. I'm going down to the main area. Orlando says the National was incredible. So many people there. Missed Bo. Wish I could have met you. I know. And I didn't go to the YouTube meetup because I had to get back to the hotel to do my failed attempt at eBay Live from the hotel room. And what happened was, and I knew going in, it's like going live from a hotel, doing live video from a hotel can be dicey, but in Marriott properties, you can upgrade to better Wi-Fi connection, better internet connection. And that was my plan. So as I get prepared and I go to buy the better speed internet, higher speed internet. It's like, this is not available. And the lighting sucked, but the internet connection was really bad. So live and learn. So that's why I didn't make it over to the YouTuber meetup. Although I would have, it sounds like it was kind of a disaster. But I would have got my steps in had I gone with all the back and forths that was going on Thursday night. Bargain Boxer, he's already got the countdown, 360 days. He's ready. Max pulled in at 8:15 last night. What a week. Timmy Tush, what's going on? What's been the best price range for you for eBay Live? Well, that's a great question, and it varies. It varies from stream to stream. My best margins are basically quarter and dollar cards, depending on who it is. Dan Marino's been a good seller, and I picked up some Dan Marinos for like 25, 50 cents that I flipped for $8 to $10 last night. Some of the slabs, I got $80 on $12, but that's really good margin. But most of the slabs were selling for $20 on a $13 spend. Now, a lot of those people were buying multiple slabs, so kind of counters, that with the shipping cost. But some of the slabs were great. I was a little, there were some it's like I thought this would sell for higher, like the Larry Bird rookie. I thought that would go a little higher. There was an Allen Iverson I sold raw for $48. An 8 I sold for, this is if you're in the grading world, usually 9s are like the raw price, which probably is fact, because I think the AI rookie sold for around 30, maybe 35 in an 8, where a raw last week sold for 48. Now, could have been completely different people in the room. Likely was. So it just varies. But I'm finding a lot of, the higher percent margins are on the 50-cent dollar cards, but the bigger money comes with, a slab, Caitlin Clark slab. I have to pay more for it, but I'm making more on it. Max says it's absolutely insane how much variation there is in dollar boxes and deals from dealer to dealer. One box Dad and I went through, it was a bunch of Cubs era, Sosa, Wood, etc. at about $3. It's crazy. It's crazy how some are just like, this is garbage. And then the next booth you go to, it's like, holy crap. Like one of the booths I went to on Saturday afternoon, I pulled out 200 cards and I could have bought, and I would have been happy buying all of the boxes. I think he had 2 or 3. His slabs were like, basically I would have, they were 50% off, but the sticker price was twice as much as what the market price was. So like if a $50 slab, you get it for 25, which it's probably going to sell for 25. And I went through and it's like a couple of these, I might be able to make money, but it's like, I'm going to make way more money on the dollar box stuff than I will on the slabs. So it's crazy how much variance there is between boxes. Tom says, well, only negative was the upstairs area cramped for no logical reason whatsoever. Yeah, and we just talked about that. I'm sure there's a reason, and it could be a reason from the organizer standpoint, could be a reason from the venue standpoint. So we're not privy to that. Max says, everything team sorted offered $20 on 28 cards, 50 to 100 cards were 80 cents per. We were shot back and left, had like 6 to 7 tables of 5 rows, all at $1 a piece. Guess that's the reason there was so many left. Yeah, that's insane. That's pretty crazy. I shouldn't say never. I rarely ask for volume. I did ask for volume. There was a slab box in the very back by the autograph pavilion. There was a guy that had a ton of slabs, and half of them were Pete Rose autographs. And I did ask, and there were some really good, like he had like $5 slabs. I'm like, I can make, I'll easily triple, quadruple my money on these. And so I start building a stack, and I'm like, do you do volume discounts? And he's like, yeah, I'll help you out. So I think he knocked like $50. I think it ended up being, sticker price was like $470, and he charged me $420. And I think, yeah, that's a great deal. I'm already getting great deals on the slabs that are in here. I'm very happy with that discount. I think there were two dealers that didn't offer one, and I just one I said one was 52. I had 52 cards at $1 each. And I said, well, you do 50. And he kind of scoffed. And I don't want to discriminate here, but every time I've had a dealer scoff, they've been of a certain age. Not to play a little ageism here, but the older guys tend to scoff at discounts. Like, you don't want you. Okay, I'll put 2 cards back. Like, come on. And then the really good dollar box where I should have put an offer in for everything. There were 200 cards, and I think it was the guy's daughter who was running it. And she says, you have 200 exactly, $200. And I was getting a good enough deal. I'm like, I'll pay the full $200. Could I have got it for 180 or 160 maybe? Possibly, but I'm like, I'm not going to mess around. You know how well I love negotiating. Red light, what's going on? Good morning. Did you pick up any bulk? Now, I did buy a lot. I didn't buy any bulk. I don't need any bulk. I don't want any bulk. So no, I did not pick any bulk, but I did buy a lot. I probably ended up buying 2,000 or 3,000 cards. 400 to 500 slabs. 400 alone from the singles club, and then maybe another 100 from other booths. So I probably did pick up 500 slabs total. And then I'm trying to think of how many shoe boxes I filled with dollar cards. I don't even know, but I came back with 5 shoe boxes and a 500 count box. Oh, and a 4-row box. Oh shit, I did buy a lot. So I well over 2,000-3,000. So probably 3,000 to 4,000 cards, because you got to figure the slabs were in the 5 boxes, and then plus the 4-row is probably only going to be 2,000 cards. So yeah, probably about 3,000 cards, I would say, is what I picked up. Rich says, part of me missed being at the National, and part of me thought of the old Yogi line. No one goes there anymore. It's too crowded. It was not too crowded. I was very happy with it was there, with the exception of the upstairs, the small space that was all the new dealers. That was the only crowded part. It was busy on Thursday. Traffic was a bitch on Thursday, but it wasn't crowded at all. And how about the air conditioning? Now, granted, it was 30 degrees cooler than it was 2 years ago when the AC was. I think it did go out. I think it actually did go out. People always complain when it's hot. Oh, how come the air conditioner's not working? It is working. It's just fucking hot outside. It was cool. It was. Now, I would have been, if I would have had long sleeves. I wore shorts and a t-shirt every day. If I would have wore long sleeves, I would have been warm. I'm warm. So especially walking around, I would have been hot if I would have wore, long sleeves. But if I was sitting down all day, I probably would have been chilly. It was comfortable. It was wow, this is a change of pace. Because every previous National, it's been miserable that I've been to in Chicago as far as temperature goes. And crowds sometimes. Tom says, every dealer I spoke to said the show was awesome. Yeah, I don't know if I heard a dealer say, oh, what a shitty show. Rich says, singles club restocks every day they are open. They sure do. Hit that like button and sub. Oh, and I can tell you a show at DFW on Saturday was obviously affected by the National. Max says, it was nice meeting you, Bo. It was nice meeting you too, Max. Cooter says, Detroit in 28. Really? The National needs to get out of the Rust Belt. I'm okay. I'm okay. I probably won't go. But like I've said before, I won't go no matter where it's at outside of Chicago. Now, that could always change. I totally understand why dealers want to keep it in Detroit. The only other option was Atlanta for the dealers to vote on this year. They chose Detroit. Not surprised. Detroit surprisingly is it's not your 1990s 2000s Detroit. They've really Detroit's really gotten a makeover in the last decade or so. So even with that said, Normally, I don't go. It's kind of like spring training. I don't care. Spring training could be in freaking Alaska. I would still go. The National could be in Alaska. People will still go. I don't care where it's at. I do care where it's at. I want it to be in Chicago every year. That's the only issue I have. It's the National. Everything comes to it. It shouldn't be it doesn't have to be the other way around. When people complain, oh, it should be, it's never coming to the West Coast. It doesn't need to. It should stay centralized, stay in Chicago every single year, and I'd be very, very happy. It doesn't need to travel. It's not a traveling road show. It's the National. You can travel to it. It does not need to travel to you. So I'm okay. I'm okay. The only disappointing part is it's not in Chicago, because no matter where it was at in 2028, I probably won't go. But again, things can change. Offbeat All-Stars in the house. Good morning. Max says, Cooter, much better than Atlanta. Everything would melt. I still can't believe that was even an option. Yeah, Atlanta in July, August. That heat. I have a handful of beer sign cards for you, says Tom. Offbeat says, awesome. Thanks for thinking of me. Max says, literally went upstairs and within 2 minutes regretted even going up there. Yeah, I think pretty much the only complaint I've heard is the upstairs sucked because it was all jam-packed into one small area. And that's my only complaint. Cooter says, Max, believe it or not, we have AC in the South. We can even read books. Max says, believe the first, but still haven't seen evidence of the second. Gem City says, good morning. So I'm glad I got to meet John, Bo, and Victor. Yeah, so Gem City Card Show, got to meet up with Brian. And he's like, is there anybody else around? I'm like, yeah, Keating's around somewhere, that 70s card store. And all of a sudden I look up, I'm like, that's John right there. So we had a great conversation. And I was able to take in a few innings of the Cubs game with John on Friday. Max says, again, I leave a Chicago National questioning why have it anywhere else. Amen to that. Keep it in Chicago. Rich says, dude, if I could sell every card I bought for $13 for $50, I would never have to work again, right? And maybe I won't have to work again. Gem City says, I don't care where they put the National. My wife still won't be happy, right? Unless it comes to Quincy. Well, would your wife might be less happy if it's in Quincy. Rich says there are some dollar boxes here in DFW, which are common overproduced era cards. I just shake my head when I see those boxes. When I see 90 Donruss or 91 Fleer, I don't even have to pick up another pile. It's like, this is not going to be for me. Rich says, I know a person on the board, and he pre-warned me that upstairs was not going to be done right. So I'm curious, did you ask why? And I guess going in, if you didn't know, if you didn't experience, you wouldn't have asked that question. But I am curious why it was done like that. I have my theories, which I mentioned earlier. It's either the venue said this is the space we're going to give you, or the board, or the organizers said we're not going to pay for any more space. This is what we're going to pay for. So I assume it's one or the other. ET Card Collector, I got to meet Hughes on Friday. We actually ran into each other at the Card Vault. Tom Brady's new card shop opened on Friday morning. Was there for the opening day. It was his first trip to the National, Chicago, and the Cubs game, and it was great running into you at Tom Brady's new stores. Awesome meeting you. Happy birthday. And family came into town for his birthday celebration. It was really cool to see the shirts. Rich says, I try to establish my discounts in advance so I know what I'm doing. Here's what I do, and I probably should do it that way, but I don't. Here's what I do. I go in expecting no discounts. If I'm at a dollar box, I'm only pulling out cards that I'm willing to spend $1 for. And maybe it's like, maybe I can get this for 75, 80 cents. I'll still set it aside. I'm not expecting to get big volume discounts. So that's kind of how I go into it. And then sometimes it's like the guy gives me 50 cents off, 50 cents a card. And I'm like, well, shit, there were some cards that I would have paid 50 cents for. But really, when you're getting down to it, 50 cents versus 80 cents, 90 cents, not much of a difference for me. Tom says, I wondered about the authenticity of the booths that were all autographed cards, literally tens of thousands. Yeah, I'm not into autographs. I am. I am into autograph. I'm into in-person. I'm not into buying autographs. I'm not into, I'm not going to go buy an autographed jersey. That's not my thing. Uh, I am a grapher. I get them in person. I know the authenticity. So I didn't even really pay much attention to the autograph booths. I'm curious, I wonder how those booths did in the wake of the most recent autograph scandal. I'm curious if that did hurt sales by the looks of it. Now, I don't know if people were buying autographs, but I would imagine people were still buying. And just imagine how many people were there that have no idea that the most recent autograph scandal is even a thing. Because it's not like it hit the front pages of newspapers and it wasn't on the nightly news that I'm aware of. Max says he scoffed at $52 cards for $50. Get fucked, right? Kind of like the Dallas show with the 74 commons, and it was like $23 worth of cards, and I'm like 20, and he scoffed. I'm like, come on. Cody, what's going on? Good morning. Any new dealers for the Madison Card Show? So I didn't do any promoting. Actually, I take that back. I did do promoting for the Madison Card Show, but I didn't do it in person. So I did run an ad. I ran a Facebook and Instagram ad for the August show that I only promoted in Rosemont. So on Facebook, you have the option to do it by region. So I just did all the baseball card and Pokemon specifics, and it was within a 1 mile radius of Rosemont, so I can cover the hotel rooms that most people are staying at. So that was the only promoting for the Madison Card Show I did. I was on a mission to buy cards, and that's what I did. Timmy Tush says thoughts on the National going to Detroit. Just talked about that. I think it's a better option than Atlanta, but again, it's not. I probably won't go, but I wouldn't have gone to Atlanta. I wouldn't have gone to Cleveland or Atlantic City or anywhere else. Gem City says someone was complaining about the beverage cart lady. That was one of my highlights. The beverage cart lady coming through, make a hole. I mean, really, can you imagine having that? That would be. Just think when you're walking through and there's two people standing talking in the middle of the aisle, blocking the aisle. Just imagine if you're trying to do your job and you're trying to get from point A to point B with thousands of people blocking your way. So kudos. That lady deserves a raise. She did awesome. So I don't know why anybody would complain about her. Max says Sunday was a dessert, FYI. Did you get some good deals? Rich says to Cooter, I agree with you, but we don't get to make that decision. And of that option, the dealers who vote will vote for Detroit and did vote for Detroit, which is why the National moved around so much in the 80s and 90s. And I could give you chapter and verse about the background. There's Boston Smoke. We got to hang out Saturday night. Good morning. Had a great time Saturday night at Shoeless Joe's. It was awesome to meet some Hobby Evolution folks. It was great to meet you. Rich says, by the way, Chicago is the best place for the National. I agree. And I went round and round with that with John Brogy when he was running the National. I've been to Atlanta for the National, and trust me, Detroit was better. Gem City says, put the National in the Nationals ballpark, Nationals National, and everyone would extra screw up the name. Red Light says, fuck it, I want it in Indy. LOL. There's Dez. What's going on? I got to meet Dez on Wednesday. Good morning. The National was a blast. Pleasure meeting you as well. Doesn't it go quick? It's like, man, it's already, it's already Saturday. And it's like, am I going to come back tomorrow? It's like, no, probably not. I came home I was happy not going back Sunday. I was happy I was so just exhausted. I just kind of, I had a ton of tomatoes to pick from my garden when I got home. So I just hung out. I did some sorting. I was able to watch TV in our porch for the first time. We got the new TV installed in our Three Seasons porch. And so I turned the Cubs game on, had my cards out there, and enjoyed that for the first time. So that was fun. And no regrets. Rich says, I think that's because, and I'm speculating, that the autograph pavilion was supposed to be upstairs. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. But they wanted to stay downstairs, so that area had to be redrawn on the fly. Interesting. So I was off on my theories. That's an interesting. That could be very frustrating. I'm sure logistically for autographs on being up there was probably a pain because it's so much easier. I assume it's so much easier to go in. Although they do it upstairs, that's where the autograph pavilion is for the spectacular. So I wonder why they didn't have it upstairs. Maybe it's a crowd control thing. I don't know. Rich says, Bo, I do the same thing, and understand I know most of the dealers at this point I buy from. So it's a lot easier for me. But I always tell Dr. Jim, like Bo just said, I pick out things I'm okay paying the dollar for anyway. The funny thing was on Saturday, I worked it out with a dealer, told him to pull back to $2 anything he was not comfortable with, and we agreed the one card to be $2 instead of $1. I don't scoff, and I'm in the Bo age range of old farts. Hey, you said it, not me. Max says, Bo, reminder to check to make sure I signed up for the next show before you release to the peons. Yes, that's on my agenda for today or tomorrow. I wanted to stand in front of that box, see what happens. Shut up, it was every damn day. Oh, desert. Yeah. And I was spelling bee champion. I should have known that. Desert, the dry place, not dessert. I'm like, oh, a dessert. You must have got some good deals. If Sunday was a dessert, it was a desert. Yeah, I saw the picture somebody sent. My buddy Dave sent me the photo of Sunday morning, and I'm like, holy crap. Awesome deals, except for the Jacksonville guy. Yeah, I didn't even look at those boxes. Those were sorted by teams, and you know how I don't like that. So I did not even go. There were a couple booths that, like, as I was kind of thinking back on the week, I'm like, where did I go? Where did I didn't go? There were two booths that I didn't spend for the first time ever. I didn't buy anything, even look. Actually, I did look briefly, but it was so packed on, I think, Thursday. Evolution Sports Marketing, which has great bargain boxes. And usually I spend a lot of money at their boxes through the National. They were so packed on Thursday, and I just never made it back to their table Thursday, later in the day, Thursday or Saturday. There was one other booth where I got most of my stuff 2 years ago. I didn't get their name. And I looked around the location where they were at 2 years ago and didn't see them. But they had like basically $5 boxes. And by the time Saturday rolled around, they were down to like, you fill a box and you got them for like 75 cents a card. We're talking like First Bowman Chrome autos and really good stuff. That was 2 years ago. I didn't see that booth, though there was a booth that had on Wednesday cards in their boxes were $5. On Thursday, they were $4, $3, $2, $1. I wanted to head back to them on Saturday, and I just, I never, kind of like Evolution, I just didn't make it back to their boxes. There's Bronco. What's going on? The solution for the second floor would have been to put the beverage cart lady going up and down those aisles. Can you? Oh, man, that would have cleared a hole. Max says also, don't choose the National for your first submission with PSA if you are 70 and disorganized as fuck. Yeah, not smart. Max says, waited almost an hour with another guy, and we were second and third in line. Holy shit, that's a nightmare. Took us 5 minutes total. Rich says, Lisa and her team are great, and I've known her since the 80s. That's Evolution. They do awesome. I love their booth. Unfortunately, I didn't make it back over there this year. So I'll try to get back there next year. It's nice to say next year that I'm going to, because it's been every 2 years. But next year and the next year. So we've got the next 2 years in Chicago before we head to the Motor City in 2028. And who knows if I'll go or not. Max says, I think the layout this year could have used a little help. I wish they could split the corporate areas off like the breakers, but I'm sure that wouldn't fly. Yeah. I heard a lot of people talking that the braking area was pretty dead. I only walked through there once, and I wanted to get the hell out of there because there were some areas, some areas were like super loud and crazy and screaming, and it's like, just get me the hell out of here. But I did not see the ComC booth. I wanted to stop and see Steph and Angela and Andy. Where was ComC? I could not find ComC. I also didn't look at the map either. I just wandered around. I did not see ComC. I didn't see my buddy Matt with 5-star either. Again, I didn't look at the map. So I didn't stop at those. Now I see Matt 2 or 3 times a month. So I didn't need to go say hi at the National, but I would have liked to gone to the ComC booth. What else? eBay. We had eBay. They were really pushing eBay Live at the National this year, which I love to see. And my stream last night, over 1,000 viewers, which has been pretty typical for a Sunday, but I had more in the room at a single time. Now the count you see, and I think that's what StreamYard, it says my StreamYard number says 120. That also could be Twitter viewers as well, because it's streaming to Twitter. But I think with eBay, or I know with eBay, I think with StreamYard, it's the same as eBay, where it's total viewers. When check in, you come back, you get added to another one. So, so they were really pushing eBay Live. We did the eBay Live party on Wednesday night. That was awesome. I got to meet Ron, who is I don't know his exact title, but he's like the highest ranking guy within the collectibles section of eBay. And then Solene, I got to meet her. She's kind of like the face of sports cards on eBay. So I had a great conversation with those two. I met Beck, who works on the eBay Live, like on the programming side and the live, like on tour. Unfortunately, he doesn't make like the on tour decisions, because I'm like, hey, I run the Madison Card Show, and he's like, I can get you some names. So it was great meeting with some of those people, and I had a good time at the eBay Live event on Wednesday. It was a great place. So, and here's the thing. So Wednesday was so packed. Wednesday night, getting out of the parking garage was a nightmare if you left at the end of the show, which I did to go over to the eBay event. And I'm in the parking garage. I'm on level 4, and I get down to level 3, and I'm in the front. I'm in the back of the front. The parking garage is split into 2, right? So I'm in the half that's closer to the actual National Convention Center, and I'm all the way down to the back half of the garage. And I'm sitting there. 10 minutes. I'm just stuck for 10 minutes. And finally, I'm like, you know what? Because I was going to drive to the location. It's a good thing I didn't. And this is why being just disorganized and stubborn paid off for me. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm just going to pull into a parking stall. I'm going to walk my ass. If it's 2 miles, it's 2 miles. So I pulled into a parking spot, and I bring it up on my phone. And I'm like, it's pretty close. So I walk across the second half of the parking garage, and I get to a window that overlooks the venue I'm going to. It's like, I could have been here 10, 15 minutes ago if I would have just walked straight here. So Crush Brewery, pretty cool place. It's on the other side, which I didn't even know that existed. I've never been back over there. Like, there's a brewery, there's a bunch of restaurants. Like, wow, this is pretty cool. All right, where are we at? Rich says many people in the breaking area now no longer break at the show, so that's a downside as well. And I don't understand. Like, I never understood the appeal to breaking on site. Like, I know it's cool, and eBay Live did live streams from the National, and I just don't get the appeal for that. Maybe a little more from a live streaming standpoint, but less for a breaking, because it's like your audience most likely didn't buy in to a break. So I never understood why that was a big thing. So yeah, and I noticed there weren't too many breaks going on at the show. Rich says, ComC was in the back and they had a killer show, so a lot of people found them. That's good. Tom says ComC was in the middle, back middle. So that's where they've been. I walked around that corporate area, but it was kind of a maze. I completely missed them. Gem City says, I partied with Mr. Rubin. No big deal. LOL. Max says, just don't drink the blood, Brian. Rich says, if you break a really good product and get the hit, then the word reverberates around the show. I guess that's true. Remember the 55 Bowman mantle that was opened at the show? Ah, yes. I do, yeah. So the scream still reverberates. Too late. Uh-oh, Gem City drank the blood. So overall, a phenomenal national, and I'm looking forward to next year. We're only 360 or so days away from the national 2026 back in Rosemont. So that's what I had for today. I think I'm gonna do a shorter live stream tonight because I don't want to do 200 auctions and go until midnight again tonight. So I think I'm gonna cut it off at 100 auctions tonight. So that's what, half the time. So that'll get me done by 10 probably. So that's a decent time. So I'm gonna try to go live every day on eBay this week because of all the good stuff that I had. Plus, just before, and I think I mentioned this on Wednesday morning before I left for the show. I picked up a bunch of complete football sets, 76 with Peyton, which I'm probably going to put the Peyton in a buy it now. I sold my 83 unopened wax box for $525 on eBay this week. Sold the Trout at the show. So I was very happy with those results. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure. I've been the crawl has been this Thursday from the National. There you go. So, but I'll probably be on eBay Live this week, this Thursday, with my national finds. So, find me on eBay. Like and subscribe. We'll do this again tomorrow. See you then.